What if I told you that your relentless pursuit of control is the very thing that makes you powerless? That the more you try to manage the world around you, the more it manages you. This is the central paradox that keeps most men in a state of quiet, constant anxiety. They fight the wrong war on the wrong battlefield. Today, we are not going to talk about coping with anxiety. We are going to talk about disabling it. We will install a mental operating system based on a single, devastatingly effective Stoic thought. A principle so powerful, it acts as a cognitive off switch for 99% of your worries. This is not a New Age trick. It's a forgotten weapon of the mind, understood by emperors and philosophers, now available to the few men willing to look deeper than the surface. Before we begin, write one word in the comments that describes what anxiety feels like to you. Let's map the battlefield before we conquer it. The modern world is a chaos engine. It's designed to keep you off balance. It feeds you a constant diet of ambition and fear. Ambition for what you don't have, and fear that you'll lose what you do. Your phone buzzes with notifications of crises you can't solve. Your career demands results that depend on a dozen other people. Your social status is measured by metrics you can't directly command. This environment creates a low-frequency hum of psychological tension. It's the feeling that you're responsible for everything, but in control of nothing. This is the source of modern male anxiety. It's not a chemical imbalance. It's a philosophical error. It's a profound misunderstanding of where your true power lies. Most men spend their lives trying to rearrange the external world to find internal peace. The Stoic, the man of superior mind, understands this is a fool's errand. He starts by rearranging his internal world and in doing so, masters the external. The grand illusion of control, the foundational mistake every man makes, is believing his sphere of influence is vast. He believes he can control his reputation, his wealth, his relationships, the outcomes of his projects. He acts like a ship's captain who believes he can command the wind and the waves. When a storm comes, he screams at the sky, frustrated and powerless. His energy is spent on the uncontrollable. This is the blueprint for a life of anxiety and disappointment. The first step towards mental dominance is to recognize this illusion, to see with absolute clarity that 99% of the universe operates completely outside of your command. This is not a pessimistic realization. It is the most liberating discovery a man can make, because once you stop fighting the storm, you can finally focus on what truly matters, steering the ship, your mind. The foundational flaw in our thinking. This illusion of control isn't just a bad habit, it's a critical flaw in our mental software. Every ounce of energy you spend worrying about the economy, what someone thinks of you, or whether it will rain tomorrow is wasted. It is a direct theft from the reserves you need for what you can control. Think of your mental focus as a finite resource, like a daily budget. The average man spends 90% of his budget on things he cannot change. He is in a state of perpetual mental bankruptcy. Anxiety is the interest payment on that debt. The intellectually superior man understands this equation. He ruthlessly audits his thoughts and redirects his entire mental budget towards the only things that yield a guaranteed return on investment. This isn't about thinking less. It's about thinking with lethal precision. Here it is, the off switch itself. The single thought that dismantles this entire flawed structure is known as the dichotomy of control. It is the core of all Stoic practice. The thought is this: some things are up to us and some things are not. That's it. Simple, brutal, profound. It is an axe that cleaves the world in two. On one side, a tiny island of things you command absolutely. On the other, a vast ocean of things you don't. The anxious man lives his life drowning in that ocean, trying to command the tides. The Stoic man builds a fortress on his island and becomes untouchable. Every single worry, fear, or frustration you will ever experience can be resolved by applying this single, simple filter. This is the off switch. It's not a button you press once. It's a lens you learn to see the world through, every second of every day. Defining your true kingdom. What is truly in your control? Let's be precise. This is not a vague concept. The Stoics were brutally specific. The things that are up to us, your absolute sovereign territory, are only three: your judgments, your impulses, and your will. Let's modernize that. It's your perception of events. It's your chosen response to those events. And it's the character you choose to build. That's it. That is your entire kingdom. Notice what is not on that list. Other people's opinions, the stock market, your health ultimately, the outcome of a football game, the promotion you're hoping for. Your anxiety lives in the gap between trying to control these things and the reality that you can't. The moment you truly, deeply accept this limited jurisdiction is the moment your anxiety loses its power. It has no territory left to occupy. The mental audit, a practical application. This is not just a theory, it is a tool. Right now, take a worry that is currently consuming you, a major project at work, a conflict in a relationship, a financial concern. Now, apply the filter. Write down the situation. Draw a line down the middle of the page. On one side, list every single element of that situation that is completely outside of your control. The client's final decision, your partner's emotional reaction, the Federal Reserve's interest rate policy. Be honest and be ruthless. On the other side, list what is 100% within your control. The quality of your work, the clarity of your communication, your decision to create a budget. The first list is your release list. You must mentally let it go. The second list is your action list. This is where 100% of your energy must now go. Dissecting a worry. The presentation example. Let's make this concrete. You have a critical presentation tomorrow. You're anxious. Why? The average man says, because I'm worried it will go badly. But going badly is an outcome. It is not in your control. Let's apply the audit. What you can't control, the mood of your boss, the technical glitches with the projector, a key stakeholder being in a bad mood from a previous meeting, your colleagues' secret opinions. What you can control, the hours you spend preparing, the clarity of your slides, your decision to rehearse your speech 10 times, the deep breath you take before you begin, your commitment to answering questions honestly. The anxious man obsesses over the first list. The stoic man executes the second list with excellence and is indifferent to the rest. He ties his success to his effort, not the applause. The myth of caring less. This is not apathy. A common, shallow critique of Stoicism is that it's a philosophy of apathy, that it teaches you to not care. This is a fundamental misunderstanding, a mistake made by those who haven't done the work. The Stoic does not care less. He cares more, but with surgical precision. He cares so deeply about the quality of his own actions, thoughts, and character that he has no energy left to waste on things he can't influence. It's the difference between a floodlight and a laser. The anxious man sprays his emotional energy everywhere, illuminating nothing. The Stoic focuses his energy into a single powerful beam directed at his own choices. This is the highest form of caring. It is taking absolute responsibility for your own corner of the universe. The weather metaphor, your umbrella of response. Think of external events as the weather. You cannot control the rain. Getting angry at the rain, worrying about the rain, complaining about the rain. These are all forms of insanity. They change nothing except to make you wet and miserable. The rain is not personal. It just is. The man of reason doesn't fight the rain. He respects it as a force outside of his control. What does he control? Whether he brings an umbrella, whether he builds a shelter, whether he chooses to dance in it. The insult from a colleague is rain. The market downturn is rain. The unexpected bill is rain. Your power is not in stopping the rain. Your power is in your response. Your power is in the umbrella you have been building, day by day, through self-discipline and practice. The ultimate black box, other people's minds. One of the greatest sources of male anxiety is the desperate need for approval and the fear of judgment. We try to control what others think of us. This is the most impossible task of all. Another person's mind is the ultimate black box. You have no idea what inputs they're receiving or how their internal programming works. Trying to control their opinion of you is like trying to change a television channel by shouting at the screen. The Stoic solution? Abandon the goal entirely. Focus instead on being a man of unimpeachable character. Act with courage, justice, and discipline. Let your actions be your argument. Their opinion is their property, not yours. True freedom is when their approval is a pleasant bonus, not a desperate necessity. Advanced Stoicism, the concept of amor fati. Once you have mastered the dichotomy of control, you can ascend to a higher level. This is the principle of amor fati, a love of one's fate. This goes beyond mere acceptance of what you can't control. It means actively embracing it. It is the belief that every obstacle, every setback, every bad event is not just something to be endured, but an opportunity to practice virtue, to build strength, to show character. The project that failed, an opportunity to practice resilience, the betrayal by a friend, an opportunity to practice forgiveness and fortitude. The man who practices amor fati is unbreakable because everything that happens, good or bad, serves his ultimate purpose, to become a better man. The universe is no longer an adversary. It is a training partner. Application to career. The unpromotable man versus the indispensable man. Consider two men passed over for a promotion. The anxious man obsesses over what he can't control. The manager's bias, office politics, the other candidate's connections. He becomes bitter, his performance suffers, and he proves his superior's right. He is unpromotable. The Stoic man applies the dichotomy. He acknowledges the decision is external and out of his hands. He immediately focuses his entire energy on what he can control, doubling down on his skills, seeking honest feedback, becoming an even more valuable asset to the company, and controlling his own professional development. He becomes so good that the next decision is obvious. He makes himself indispensable. He did not control the outcome, but he commanded the process. Application to relationships. The controller versus the anchor. In a relationship, the anxious man tries to control his partner, their moods, their decisions, their feelings for him. This behavior, born of insecurity, is suffocating and ultimately pushes them away. He is a controller. The Stoic man understands he cannot control another human being. He can only control himself. He focuses on being the best possible partner, trustworthy, present, a good listener, a man of his word. He is an anchor of stability in the relationship, not a source of turmoil. His security comes from his own character, not from his partner's validation. This, paradoxically, is what makes him incredibly attractive and creates a strong, healthy bond. He gains influence by relinquishing the need for control. Application to finance. The gambler versus the architect. Financial anxiety plagues modern men. The gambler obsesses over market timing, meme stocks and crypto prices, all things he cannot control. His emotional state is tied to the daily fluctuations of a chaotic system. He is a leaf in the wind. The Stoic, the financial architect, ignores the daily noise. He focuses exclusively on his sphere of control, his savings rate, his spending habits, his investment strategy, his continuous education on finance. He builds a robust system that does not depend on predicting the future. He is not immune to market downturns, but his peace of mind is, because he knows he has done everything within his power. His wealth is a byproduct of his discipline, not his luck. The neurological shift, rewiring your brain for calm. This is not just psychological trickery. It's practical neuroscience. When you worry about things outside your control, you are activating your amygdala, the brain's primitive fear center. You are stuck in a fight or flight loop. This is exhausting and clouds your judgment. When you consciously apply the dichotomy of control and focus on your actions and choices, you engage your prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thought and executive function. By repeatedly practicing this mental audit, you are physically strengthening the neural pathways between your rational brain and your emotional brain. You are literally rewiring yourself to be calmer, clearer, and more resilient by default. You are upgrading your own hardware through software. This is a discipline, not a discovery. Hearing this idea once is not enough. Understanding it intellectually is only the first 1% of the journey. The other 99% is practice. This is a mental martial art. You must train it every single day. You will fail. You will catch yourself worrying about things you can't control. The goal is not perfection. The goal is the practice. When you catch yourself, you don't judge yourself. You simply apply the filter and redirect your focus. Every time you do this, you perform one more mental push-up. Over weeks, months, and years, you will build a mind of extraordinary strength and tranquility. This is the work. This is the path to becoming a man of substance. The fortress of the inner citadel. The Stoics used a powerful metaphor. The inner citadel. Your mind is a fortress. External events, criticism, failure, loss, are the attacking army. They can surround the fortress. They can launch arrows at the walls. They can make a lot of noise. But they cannot breach the gates unless you, the commander of the fortress, allow them to. Worrying about what they are doing is a distraction. Your job is not to fight the army outside. Your job is to reinforce the walls inside. The dichotomy of control is your chief engineer. It tells you which walls are real and which are illusions. By focusing only on your own thoughts and actions, you make your inner citadel impregnable. The ultimate freedom, non-attachment to outcomes. When you fully integrate this principle, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You become detached from outcomes because you realize they were never yours to begin with. This doesn't mean you don't have goals. It means your self-worth and emotional stability are no longer tied to achieving them. Your victory is defined by giving your absolute best effort, the one thing you can control. Did you prepare with excellence? Did you act with integrity? Did you face the challenge with courage? If the answer is yes, you have already won, regardless of the external result. This is the mindset of the creator, the athlete, the elite performer. They fall in love with the process, not the prize. The test of a superior mind, the ability to distinguish between what you can and cannot control, is the ultimate mark of a disciplined and superior mind. It is simple to understand, but difficult to practice, which is why so few men achieve genuine tranquility. Anyone can be calm when things are going well. Anyone can feel in control when the world conforms to their wishes. The true test of a man is how he behaves in the face of chaos, uncertainty, and adversity. Does he crumble, complain, and blame? Or does he calmly assess what is within his power and act with virtue and precision? This single principle is the dividing line between the man who is a slave to his circumstances and the man who is the master of his soul. Building your immunity to external chaos. Every time you successfully apply this filter, you are building a kind of psychological immunity. The first time you face a professional setback, it might devastate you. But if you practice focusing on your response, the next time it happens, the emotional impact will be less severe. Over time, things that used to send you into a spiral of anxiety will barely register. It's not that you become numb, it's that you become skilled. You recognize the event for what it is, an external data point, and you immediately shift to the only question that matters. What is my virtuous response? This immunity is what other people call unshakable confidence, or grace under pressure. It is not a personality trait. It is a trained skill. The final recalibration. You are the architect. Let's bring it all together. Anxiety is a signal that you are trying to control something that you cannot. It is a GPS error, telling you that you are off course. The dichotomy of control is the system recalibration. It reorients your entire being towards your true north, your own actions, and your own character. It teaches you that you are not the manager of the universe. You are the architect of your inner world. And that is the only project that matters. By focusing all your energy on building a magnificent inner world, the chaos of the outer world loses its ability to harm you. You become a source of order in a world of entropy. This is the ultimate expression of personal power. So, the off switch for anxiety is not a technique. It is not a trick. It is a profound, fundamental realignment of your perception. It is the acceptance of a simple, brutal truth. You are only responsible for your own mind. Everything else is external data. Your power does not lie in shaping the world to your will. It lies in shaping your will to accept the world while commanding your own response with absolute excellence. Here is the single takeaway. Focus your entire life force on what you can control. Your actions, your thoughts, your character. Let the rest of the universe unfold as it will. In this surrender of false control, you will find ultimate power. You will find freedom. You are the architect of your inner world. Nothing external can touch you without your consent. Remember that. That is your strength. That is your peace. Thank you for your intellectual investment in this time together. If this resonated with the man you aim to be, subscribe and join the 1% committed to building an unbreakable mind. Share this video with another man who is fighting the wrong war. Now go back to the comments. After hearing this, what is one thing you will consciously stop trying to control, starting today?